And who's behind square number 1?
Ha ha!
That's Pro. And
That
who
is Pro.
behind square number 2? That's Jay. Quo.
There
What's
he
up,
is.
people?
What it is, man? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I can complain a little bit, but I won't.
It doesn't really get you far, I've learned in this wonderful life of ours, man. But I'm listening.
Yeah.
I hear you. I heard you
I
a little
know.
under the weather, but I see that you're fighting through it anyways, right?
Oh yeah. It's more my daughter. You know that.
Yeah,
just,
I mean that makes you feel badly, you know.
When a 3-year-old says "Daddy, doctor," that's the
Woo.
pinnacle of you know.
And today, of course, everyone thinks COVID is the first thing, right? So everyone's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. Seasonal allergies, and I was knocking on wood, man. I'm like, hey, no one got sick for like 4 months.
I know. I don't even remember
months.
what sick feels like. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it's crazy. We've been super babied, right? But hey, man, we all trying to get there. Well, shout out to everybody out there. Hope y'all are feeling a little bit better than Quo is.
Yes, hope y'all are.
Trying to get you in those spirits, anyways, if you're not there yet. But you know, it's a grind for all of us. We get it's funny. I was talking about Fridays before, and it's the only night of the week before we did this show that I would fall out. And you know, I never fall out. You know what I'm saying? Fridays, something maybe psychological. I'd get on the couch or whatever, maybe about 10 o'clock. I sit there and I'd be like drifting and boom, I'm out. And I'm never like that. But Fridays always hits me. And so now, because we do this, until whenever, then I get off this and I'm like, I'm wide awake again like I normally am at like midnight. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
RoboCop. Bro done turned into Robo. Yeah, he just went from like, he just broke the human out of him. He's like, no, I'm straight up AI. I don't need sleep. 2 hours a day. Man.
Nah, I'm not 2 hours though. It's
no, but it's basically.
I mean, I can go without for a long time, but that's not healthy. You know what I'm saying? That's not anything to be proud of. It's just that, I was talking to someone a couple of days ago about this same thing, and it's like, you're motivated, and you're similar, and you're trying to get things done or whatever, and the time just zips by, and you can be sitting there like you working on a video or something. You're like, where did those 7 hours go? And it's unbelievable when you're when you're really into it. So, and that helps. In my other side of my world, on the higher ed side, you've been working, the faculty, and we got a guest tonight who knows something about that. But you work on that faculty stuff, and you're sitting there correcting, getting your thing done, trying to catch up. And before I'll be in my office sometimes when we're physically in the office. I'll get in. It's like maybe a little before 9 or something, and in my head I'll say, you know what? Today, no matter what, I'm going outside to eat lunch somewhere. And before you know it, it's 2:30, and I'm like, and I'm like. Is it like a vending machine or something? You know what I mean? And it's so often I don't even know what the time was. But when you like what you do, man, it's a blessing, right?
It is definitely. And I think recognizing when you need rest, That's pretty much how what it boils down to.
Yeah,
the better you take care of yourself, what you put in your temple, usually a better output that you can get. So,
absolutely.
I applaud the vegetarian.
Yeah, man, I'm trying.
Yeah,
a lot of people
very hard. Going to the
veganism.
gym, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This dude's at the gym, yo.
Hey, man, trying.
Putting in that work.
It's because I've seen your brother, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I got to get to that point. My goodness,
Josh
boy's got arms like tree trunks.
You know what the thing is with him? His problem is that again, that young mind state of when you're doing cardio like football and stuff like that, and you're working out a lot, but you're not doing that cardio like that. You go play and you pull your hamstring, you pull your groin because your muscles are so pumped up and tight. And he's done. That's his issue. It's like, you're gonna play football, bro. You got to do that cardio hardcore, man.
Right. What's up, Professor? Well, right now I'm saying Professor Stephen Oriole out there. He's a fellow colleague of ours. Checking in to see Professor Pearsall, of course. He'll be up in a few. Professor, good to see you in here.
Nice to meet you.
He's a good dude, fellow business faculty member there, accountant, one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? They just love their numbers and their money. You know what I mean? They they lock right in. And you know something about that, former Fidelity man. Not a lot of people know that about you.
I do.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I did the pensions, 401k.
People just think you're some dumb rapper.
All that stuff.
They just think you're a dumb rapper, Jay.
NASDAQ. That's it. Exactly.
That's it. Yeah. They
Fool
just think
you.
That's what I try to do.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Same thing. Yeah, it'll be like, yo, Christian Aguiar, what up, Professor Aguiar? Some professors in the place out there checking in through LinkedIn. Cool to see y'all. And I don't always get my feed, as you know, Facebook. We will get often. I see like there's 50 Facebook comments and I missed them all. Because we for people who don't know, we stream on like through 8 different outlets. And shout out to Don Juan, shout out to HipHopCitizen, which makes this all possible. That's the network. Check them out if you haven't. Yes. That's the logo up in the other corner. HipHopCitizen.com, a website streaming service. I should say we are a website streaming service, live stream webcasting platform. And their website, their page, their Facebook page, what is it, like 80,000 people that they have through that? So
yeah, right up there.
Some of those people trickle into our show every week through their page. We'll see a few hundred streams on their page, maybe 100 on mine, 100 on yours. And then the next day that might double. There's some LinkedIn ones. LinkedIn, not that many people know about, but LinkedIn makes it so tough to do one of these. You have to be like, go through FBI clearance to have your stuff on LinkedIn. I know like moguls on LinkedIn.
You've been getting it done though. You've been doing it.
I don't even know how. Yeah, I was just like went through the process and went through.
And also Twitch. People that are on Twitch, make sure you follow us on Twitch too.
I don't even know if we went through Twitch tonight because we wanted to make room for the new ProQuo page, which you're going to have to check out because I'm not even looking at it. So the ProQuo page is in there streaming too. You have to check that out. But
okay.
So that's the thing. These one of these dilemmas in social media conversations we have all the time. Is it better just to go to one site, maybe 1 or 2? Is it better to go to 8? Like our YouTube page, we really don't pay enough attention to, and because we're streaming also through the HipHopCitizen YouTube page. So by the time you're done, we get a nice number of people every week that keep us among, if not the highest rated show on HipHopCitizen. So we're very thankful for all you guys checking in. And I wanted to announce J. Cruz tonight. You know what I wanted to do, because Professor Pearsall is here and there's some business people in the I want to give out one of these bad boys here tonight, one of these ProQuo shirts. You know what I'm saying? I want to give one of those instant brotherhood shirts out with all the names of the producers from around the world right there. Now, of course, we do the unofficial official sponsors. And for those of y'all who don't know, when we do the unofficial official sponsors, we let you know who are basically the people that we want to be behind the show, but aren't quite yet. Right? Exactly. So that's how we get down. And so, but tonight, one of the official sponsors is definitely Pro and Quo, because we're going to be hitting y'all up with one of these shirts. And Jay, you tell me if I'm being crazy. I think what we need, like after the first, let's see, from the time Professor Pearsall comes in, we're going to have to go with like the 25th, I think, maybe the 25th comment that comes through that we see show up here through our screen. I'm thinking the 25th one. Now, if someone's trying to game the system and they do like 8 in a row, we might have to, you know what I'm saying? We might have to think twice about that. But
yeah, it might be
I'm thinking the 25th comment after he comes in. We're going to give one out if y'all are so interested, and we'd be happy to take your address down. And Jay is the mailer extraordinaire of the two of us. He has some specialty in that line of work.
I really do.
Shipping and receiving.
He ain't joking.
He's not joking. Pro is a professor, and Jay is a U.S. postal delivery carrier. I wasn't sure what they say, but
carrier, baby.
Yeah, man. And I say my former career. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's career, but I was UPS back in the day, small sort, getting me through college. And I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I can see myself doing this. I get to work out, sweating in there in the summer.
That's what I like about it. Being active.
Workout.
And that's why I left Fidelity, man, because, I was looking up to my directors and all these other people that were managing, and, they didn't look healthy. They were overworked, which was a quality of their personality, just to be so involved and in it. But just not healthy looking. And I'm like, man, I don't want to be on this, sitting at this desk for like 12 hours a day, 5 days.
That's not you.
Nah,
yeah, that's not you.
No matter how much money I could have made, which was really good money at that time.
Yeah, man. Well, speaking of money, I'm gonna try to just bring him on in if we can get right into it. So I want to give you a little bit of a backdrop about who we're bringing in. So this is a personal friend of mine, an associate at my job. He is a professor of business. His name is Albert Pearsall III, and he's like one of those all-around people. Kind of knows a lot about had a former background working before he, I believe, retired he was working in the government sector. So he was very familiar with working in the sort of the public sphere, and he made the jump into teaching in the academic world. And I've had the pleasure of working with him for a few years now. And what I didn't know about him when I first started working is the tag that you may have seen if you were seeing the promotion that we were doing for the flyers and so forth, is that Professor Pearsall is a martial artist. And not only is he a martial artist, he's like the real deal martial artist, like Hall of Fame martial artist, like punching people in the nose kind of back in the day to make sure he could stay safe on the mean streets of DC, kind of like that's how he got into it, you know? And so he went on to be a champion, you know, and I believe he's a 10th degree, which is crazy. And he'll explain some of that too. A lot of that becomes honorary after a certain point, as he's indicated to me. And, you know, I have family now tomorrow who officially get their black belts, my wife and my son in Taekwondo. And that's one of his disciplines among the many others. So I don't want to steal all his thunder, but he's kind of an amazing dude. His real spiel is more about personal finance and trying to, you know, educate young people and not so young people just about personal finances. He's done it quite a bit at the University of District of Columbia, where we're at. He's always running seminars on trying to get people to understand their personal finances, to understand how they can make the most of what we have, even if it's not a lot. So I think that's something that we can all stand to hear. And so without further ado, I think we're going to bring him in. You want to knock on the door, Jay?
Let's do that. Knock, knock, knock.
You got to stop the fake knock. We got to have trust in the process.
I can't use two hands while I'm sitting, man.
No fake knock. Now let's try the real knock.
Man, that's off.
It was on where I was. Oh, but it worked. He came in.
Hey, it did. Hey, it came in.
We don't have the budget for big effects. You know what I'm saying? We have to go with what we have. You know, other shows might have the bing, 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 bing.
Making fun of my beatbox.
Professor Pearsall. All right, that's all we got.
Hello, gentlemen. How you all doing?
Very good.
Great. How are you?
Sir.
I'm delighted to be here. I was just enjoying your banter. I'm telling you, you all are. We got to take this international. You all are a remarkable host.
That's why we had you up, because you're so complimentary.
That's right.
Absolutely. Oh, and then there he is. He's gone. So if you say the wrong word, boom, it's just like you're out of here. So I want to let you know the power you're playing with. Right?
I'm sure I'm going to always say the wrong word, so you might as well black me out now.
No, that's it. First thing I got to ask you, Professor Pearsall, what do we want to go by here? Is it Grand Master? Is it Al? Is it Professor? Is it what do we call it?
It's just Al with you. I mean,
all right.
You know, it was by happenstance you all found out I was even in the martial arts.
Absolutely.
I'm physically the last person anyone would ever think as a martial artist, and that was actually an advantage I had when I was a martial artist, because no one actually thought I was.
Right.
And
sneak attack.
And I remember in our competitive events, when we would line up, the black belts would usually line up according to height. So guys would line up, they'd see me. And literally there was a fight before the fight to fight me. And then after they would line up to fight me and they would lose, countless people, they would shake their head and someone would ask them, what happened? And they would go, I just don't know. And everyone in my school would laugh. They knew. Because usually what would happen is I was always involved in school, so I would only compete every so often. But I would actually sometimes get a rated fighter or somebody, and they just didn't know. They just made assumptions because they looked at me that I was probably going to be an easy fight. And so when it was over, the first thing that would happen as soon as I would, compete, my school classmates would yell out, "Hey, everybody, Pearsall's fighting." So all the other rings would stop. They would come around me. I would do what I do. And it was always fun, and it helped me develop a sense of confidence because I'd always been heavy. No, I'm not just heavy. I'm fat kid. Okay, be a fat guy. Okay, but it was really something because I had like a reputation, and it actually motivated me into other things. I just had a certain confidence, and it arose out of the martial arts.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I remember, I wanted to get into something specific I want to ask you, but I'll start out with this. I remember, I think it was either the first day or the second day that I was at the university. And I remember walking in your division director's meeting that you guys were having, and you were kind of talking and you were like, "Hey," when I walked in the room, and I ended up sitting up right next to you. I don't know if you remember. on the very first day. And I was like, yo, we got Forrest Whitaker works here. And that was like one of the first things. I was like, this dude could be Forrest Whitaker's brother. This is crazy. And I'm sure you get that a lot because I
get it a lot, but no one has ever offered me a free meal. No one's ever offered me a free hotel room. So looking like Forrest Whitaker, for people to say you look like him, but nobody gives you any gratis, it's not good.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to get into sort of the higher ed part, but I gotta still stick with the martial arts though first before we jump into it. So,
well, can I help you in one area?
Absolutely.
When you hear the term Grand Master,
yep,
what it goes to somebody like me who's old. Okay, normally if you survive in the martial arts long enough, because really a black belt is nothing more than a white belt who just did not quit.
Mm-hmm.
You never really know a martial art. You never completely know it because everybody's physicality is limited. So you don't, so what happens is once you've reached a certain level and you're still active and you can get honorary rank. The ranks that you generally test physically at, depending on the system, normally are your first 4 degrees of black belt or maybe 5th degree. And then after that, it tends to become honorary. It's what you've done in the martial arts, what you've contributed. But it doesn't mean that I can fly. It doesn't mean that I can punch through a car. It doesn't mean all of those kinds of things. So I just want you to understand, there's a misnomer about, what a grandmaster actually is. And so there's a lot of people who are grandmasters. And if you have a person who's a grandmaster and they're 30 years old, you got a problem. A person who's a grandmaster should be, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
So because wisdom is tied into that.
That's what it is. It's about knowledge. It's about knowledge.
Is that the Do and the Taekwondo part?
No. That's no. Do, that means art. Taekwondo. It's a Korean system.
Oh, yeah, right. But I'm saying that the Thai and the Kwon are the punch and the kick, and I always hear like the Do
is just art. That's just art. Okay. Yeah, Korean term for art, but it's just a different phase for a martial art. What happens is all the martial arts are cousins, because a punch is a punch. Now, some people call it a tiger punch. Okay, some people call it a jab. Some people call it a straight punch. It's a punch. Mm-hmm. And so a kick is a kick, but there's certain styles where, like the Korean styles, our kicking is fairly unique, but martial arts are all cousins. Yeah. And so I don't judge people's martial art. I really don't, because, there's no such thing as the best martial art. It's the practitioner. And, and that's what we try to do now in the associations. I'm part of a United States head of family that's headed by, Dr. Joe Parrish, who happens to be a good friend of mine. And all we're about is trying to build brotherhood within the martial art community. And we've been pretty successful with doing that.
I like that word, brotherhood.
I figured you like that.
Yeah, I'm having fun because, it's a, it's nice, to build bridges because, the competitive days are over. You don't have to worry about punching anybody, kicking them, those kind of things are over. Now it's about shaking people's hands and giving them awards.
Now, but I still see you getting down, though. I mean, as of late, and plus I've seen you've dropped quite a lot of weight, too. You've been doing quite a lot of the getting back into physical flow for real.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've always been heavy. And what happens is you can only do this for a certain while to start having health issues. Right. And so, I'm actually doing that. But, my ability as a martial artist, came from a lot of hard work. But also, God just blessed me. I was sort of like a freak. I mean, I wasn't supposed to be able to do what I do, but I was able to do it.
Speaking of which, so for people who haven't seen that picture that's up there right there, so that's him kicking, and that's pretty modern. So that is kind of modern. That's Grand Master Pearsall right there. That wasn't like 1st degree or 2nd degree. That's him now. So don't let him fool you that he can't get out there and do his thing. So
that kick is actually going down. I'm so slow now that it's actually on the way down.
That's what I'm saying. That's even more impressive.
Ideally, that kick it's called an axe kick, and it actually is supposed to be high because when it drops, if it drops on your collarbone, it'll break it. And especially with somebody with my weight, if I hit you with that, you'd feel it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But again, I don't have nearly the skills I had when I was actually, it's just, I have knowledge. I have the knowledge. Right. Knowledge is more, but the physical skills, I mean, you start having arthritis, especially when you train heavy in the martial arts, you start getting arthritis and other kinds of, and sometimes injuries. I was lucky though. I only went to the hospital twice. I've seen people get their nose broken, ribs broken, teeth knocked out. I was lucky.
I was gonna say, what about you?
I was very lucky. Only this eye was kicked twice by two different people, different occasions. And
how many tournaments have you been in?
Oh, geez, I've been in a lot of tournaments. I don't know the number, but it's been a lot.
Give us a rough number.
I didn't go as often as some of my colleagues, but I did go enough to, I had a lot of trophies when I was, young. I had just a whole bunch of trophies, and even now I get them now because I'm my ranking, and people will give
so
me.
You got like 100 trophies in the house somewhere, and you don't know where to put them all, kind of thing.
Well, I had more than that, but what happened is they were placed in a moldy area, and they got destroyed.
Oh man,
with the mold. But it doesn't bother me because what happens is so many of the people who are active martial artists know me, and they know what I could do. So I don't have to prove myself by showing a trophy. Trophy is only a physical thing. What you want to do is have the respect of martial artists. Even before I was a Grand Master, I would go visit other schools, and they would stop their classes and bow to me, and they would refer to me as a Grand Master. So again, it's honorary.
I just want to read you a comment or two here. Holly said, wow, I never knew that. Learning something new today. And that was a few minutes ago, so probably what you were breaking down for us on that. But and Don Juan was saying, has the martial arts evolved for the current trend of mass shootings? Are the arts still relevant among an increasing gun culture in our society? What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. Martial arts is self-discipline. Mm-hmm. And believe me, you're not going to have a gun in every single encounter. And even if you do have a gun, there's going to be a time in which if somebody presents you with a gun, you may need to do something. I mean, generally what you want to do is someone pulls a gun on you is you want to comply. You don't want to play hero because you can get shot. Right. Same thing with the knife. So, a lot of times you'll see martial art demonstrations where people will have knives. I will tell you, in a real encounter, I've seen a real knife fight. You're going to get cut. So it's best if you can avoid a knife fight, try to avoid a knife fight. But if you have to, you have to do what you have to do because you have to survive.
Yeah.
But I believe that martial arts are very appropriate because what it does is it builds character. When you're throwing hundreds and thousands of kicks and punches and you're so tired you can't move, and then you push yourself to go forward and forward. That's building an internal fortitude that's going to help you. It's not about beating people up. It's about what you do yourself internally. And then what I did was I took my martial arts and I applied it to academics. And I will tell you that getting my black belt, just to give you a little background, I am part of a legendary school in Washington, D.C. called Simba Do Jang. The instructor is a person by the name of Furman L. Marshall. He's actually a legendary martial artist. He beat Chuck Norris, and he's beaten a number of people. And our school was sort of a real deal school out of Southeast DC. It was a very tough environment to compete in. A lot of people didn't even want to train in the school because it was a very brutal environment. That kind of training actually prepared me for a lot of what you have to deal with in life. So I tell you that martial arts has so many benefits, intrinsic benefits, that it's hard to quantify. But you can't, and also it teaches you never to give up. You just don't give up, and you have to just stick through it. And so it's not about fighting, even though, when I was young, that's all I loved to do. I mean, we would get together. I mean, I did really crazy things. I fought guys from other schools in laundry rooms with no referee. Like I tell people, if you want to know if I'm a real black belt, did you ever fight somebody that you did not know a style you did not know in a laundry room. And when you're fighting a guy in a laundry room you don't know, and you pop him and he gets mad, he comes. I mean, some of our battles were like unreal.
If you had those videotape, by the way, I mean, that's what's popping off now. I mean, like, right now. You can get videos now of like Kembo Slice, you know, they're all over the place. You can watch what he was doing to people in people's backyards and stuff. And, you know, before he really became huge, and somewhat during and after, you know, it's crazy. So, I mean, those things get millions of views. You got any of those on video?
No, well,
you can retire again.
Some people say they have the videos of me, but I don't have them. I know that our school did put out a tape. And while I wasn't in any of the action, what they did, I guess, in a lot of respect for me, and I'll get there for you, is they did a still of me doing the kick. Because, you know, because, you know, but, you know, I don't recommend that to people. I don't recommend being a rogue guy going around and just sparring people, because you don't know what another system, what they do. For example, just give you a classic example. We were involved in competitive martial arts, right? You know how you go to karate tournaments and compete. And so you're going to think that, well, that's the best style. You know, you got these big trophies. No, there's some karate schools. They train for combat. They don't train for tournaments. When they
like
hit
that,
you,
like military combat.
Yes,
kind of thing?
They're striking you in vital points. They're not. You know, for example, if I hit you in a vital point, that's a. You know, I can cause you to feel like you're okay, and you can go home. In 8 hours, you're dead. It just depends on how you apply, and you got to be careful when you're hitting vital points and things. So, what you do is you learn to have respect for all martial arts. Just because you see a guy and he's not flashy with his techniques, that might be the most dangerous guy in the room because he's not flashy. But when he hits you, he's going to hit you in the solar plexus. He's gonna hit you someplace on your leg where it's going to break your leg. You know, so when you see the flashiness, you see the people that look real good on TV, that may not necessarily be the guy that you want to have with you. For example, you see a Navy SEAL, they're not going to be doing fancy kicking. They're going to be hitting
right on point. Yeah, right Absolutely. To where it needs to go.
Right.
Every single blow is going to be to take you out. So what you do is you learn to respect all martial arts. You don't, you don't denigrate anybody, and I like that. You know, for example, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is very dangerous. You know, you can kick and punch all day. One of those guys get their hands on you. You know. So what you have to do if you got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy coming at you, you got to knock him out. Okay, you cannot let him put his hands on you, because if he puts his hands on you, next thing you know, he's twisted you. He's got you in joint locks, and so that's again respecting all martial arts. You just don't go in assuming that you're the big bad person, because that's a recipe for getting in trouble. What I like to do is I like studying and picking up what I can pick up from every martial art. And that's why when I call our system, we call it Urban Tang Soo Do, is because we borrow. You know, we see somebody do something that's really good. Oh, yeah, okay, let's add that in. And because that's what works in a street environment. That's what works in the real deal. And,
that sounds progressive to me.
Well, it's the American way. It's the American way. And you cannot, what happens a lot of times, you have American martial arts say, we're a traditional school. No, you're American. You're not traditional. Right. You might try to be,
right? But
the American character is Americans invent. Americans do all kinds of things.
Absolutely.
And they make, and now whether or not they make it better is arguable. Some people will say that, Americans, the way they do it, it differs from the way of maybe some of the originators, and maybe it's not good, but that's always a matter of opinion. But remember, martial arts came from every single continent. And one of the biggest stories is they kind of tell you that, it's like every continent has a martial art, right? Except for Africa, supposedly. And then when they'll tell you that the only African martial arts came out of Egypt, and then they'll tell you that Egypt, the people in Egypt were not, were not real Africans, which is crazy. Cradle of humanity, people came from, had a host of different martial arts systems. Right. Martial arts is all over the world. The Indian people, have very interesting, intricate martial arts that you don't hear about. You know, matter of fact, if I give you an example of the African martial arts, they were able to mask it over in Brazil. They were able to create a dance out of it. So where people were watching, so capoeira, which is just one of many systems. They've got a nasty wrestling style in, is it Uganda? Or it's so good that, I mean, these guys are just, I mean, it's just awesome. So fighting by hand is just something that all cultures, Europeans, the French have savate, right? You know, savate, and the Russians have this really, I mean, they got several, but the Russians have something called Sambo. It's nasty. I mean, you're using kicks, punches, but you're throwing people like judo, and you're using joint locks. So what I'm saying is that martial arts is universal, and you just have to respect everybody and how they do it. But sometimes we have a perception that, you know, and what some people are doing is, especially I like the people who are revisiting some of the African martial arts, because there's in Egypt, they actually will have the hieroglyphics, which actually show the actual movements. Like, and so, moves, you know, I've got some friends in New Jersey that are actually, you know, doing that, and they're awesome martial artists. They also know some of the other systems too, Chinese systems and others. But it's
hey, Jay, you see a couple of comments there?
Yeah, give me some echo too.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
Yeah, so we got Steven saying, love the theme of mutual respect and honor, for sure. Holly's saying, so complying is, she's talking about the gun situation. So complying is the safest way. This advice is very much needed for me. I've been traveling to Massachusetts lately for jobs and had a gun pulled on me at 2 a.m. I froze up and didn't know how to react besides to shut down. So thank you so much. I needed this advice. Shout out Holly. And they say the quiet ones are, you know, the ones that produce the best results. Let me just
tell you this. I've seen a lot of stuff growing up in Southeast. I have never had a gun pointed at me. And I will tell you, even with my martial art training, I will probably urinate on myself. I will be shaking in my boots with a gun. Right. Now, if a person comes up with a gun and it's really close, I may be able to do something then. But that's always a danger. That's always a gamble.
Yeah.
You know, so
it's the ultimate gamble.
Right. The best thing to do is to try to do it. But there's sometimes there are occasions where you can't. For example, if you are a young woman and someone is going to, or a guy, and they're going to physically get you to go into a car to where they're going to take you somewhere. Yeah. You're probably better off getting shot right there where you are.
Absolutely. That's where you got to go for it.
So you're going to go through horror wherever they take you. So if you're a woman, you have to fight. And you don't just simply fight. And what we try to do with self-defense with women is we try to tell them in different phases.
She wrote she's 5'1", 110 pounds.
Yeah. And sometimes even a woman who's a black belt, if you against a guy who's really big. I mean, I'm telling you, even with me, I'm a senior citizen, but if I'm up against a guy who's like 250 pounds, solid muscle NFL player, and he's coming, that might be a difficult person to really take down. Yeah. So, but at certain points, you have to fight. Yeah. I mean, you have to. Absolutely. And what I used to tell women is that you be careful about this groin kicking thing. Now, if you decide that you're going to kick a man in the groin, you have to understand physically that there's a socket. You want to kick so hard that you kick the testicles into the socket.
There we go.
If you don't do that, all you've done is pissed him off.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to hurt you. Yep. And what you have to do is that if you are in the process of being raped, then you don't necessarily have to give up at that point. Some women do. There's going to be a point where the guy is going to be vulnerable, and but you have to have it in the presence of your mind that you have to hit the person in the throat, but you have to drive the throat back past the neck. You can't play around. Once you do that, then you run like hell and get away. So those are the kinds of things we tell people.
Screaming the whole way.
Yeah. Because even if you have two equally skilled fighters, I would always put the money on the bigger person. Mm-hmm. It's just, what you do, but it doesn't mean that a smaller person won't win.
Absolutely.
And so, but I generally believe in trying to avoid fighting unless you have no other choice to do. Yeah. But you got to be serious. Once you commit, you have to just, you got to go with it. But nowadays, you don't want to get into fighting because why? You'll lose your job. I mean, think about it. If Professor
That's
Floyd,
where I wanted to transition, actually. But yeah, keep going.
You and I had a disagreement, but we never have. And I
just don't tell you.
Right. And I punch you. You can sue me and have my house, right? So, so professional people don't get involved in fighting. If you really want to practice your fighting, you do it in a gym. You do it on the dojo. You do it on Do Jang. You don't do it in public settings.
Right. Yeah. That's actually what I wanted to. Absolutely. Yeah. Hit that heavy bag, not the heavy person.
There you go.
That's what I wanted to hit you about. So you made the transition from, and I wasn't sure if I got it right. So correct me. I was trying to do my best there. Knowing a little something about your biography and your past, but I might have been messing up on connecting the dots. So you were in the public sector. I know you've worked in government. Was it federal government, right?
Yes.
And
I retired from the feds.
So you retired.
Yes.
And at that point,
okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say at that point. So where did you have an MBA and you got a bachelor's degree? I know you went to UDC or its predecessor, right? When it started out.
Right.
When did you know what you wanted to do, and how did education come into this as a person with an MBA and wanted to then go on to teach finance to people who maybe don't understand personal finance? Like, how did that transition occur? Walk us through that.
To be honest with you, I wasn't sure I wanted to go to college because my brother was actually the smart one in the family, and we didn't have enough money for both of us to go. But I have an aunt, and this is to give you a story of the way my family is. We had three ladies who sort of controlled our family. And so she wanted me to go to school. And so what she would do is she would call me every day. And I would tell her, I would say, Aunt Edna, I'm not interested in going to college. She would then start reading something out of the Bible. She'd read Corinthians. And the way my family worked, I could not hang up the phone on her. I wanted to, but I did not dare do it. She would call every single day till she got me to agree to take a class. As soon as I took a class, I stuck with it. And so, a lot of times what happens in our life is because we have resiliency and we have a support system. And what it actually uncovered was a lot of talents I had, I did not know I had. But she saw in me those talents. And she's no longer with us, but I have to give her credit for it. Because without my Aunt Edna, I would probably not be the person that I am today. Wow. But I will tell you that my black belt test was much harder than anything I've ever taken in life after that. That was the toughest exam I've ever taken.
I just watched my son and my wife do that, and I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm sure it's a lot different. I'm sure, especially when you were taking yours, I'm sure the rigor may be different than it is these days. Because I know there's everybody in there. Their cousin has a Taekwondo spot or whatever. But as sort of an onlooker, I've been impressed with really how their school. They're at the Taekwondo college that's out here in Falls Church, Arlington, Alexandria, that kind of stuff. And they run a great outfit. The Grand Master from out there has been here since pretty much the inception. What was the other gentleman who came out here? Lee, who started up all the schools back in the day.
There's June Ree.
June Ree. Sorry, I thought it was Lee. Yeah.
Grand Masters.
So he was right there with June Ree, and I think his name is Kang. His last name is Grandmaster Kang.
Okay.
And he's kind of like your Grandmasters, like hundreds, if not thousands, of black belts underneath them. And he was actually the Korean women's team coach that won I believe they won the bronze medal. So that was him. And so he's amazing. But anyways, I was just getting to the point that, you know, I saw my wife recently just get her black belt, and my son, who's only 8, and they actually did it at the same time. Thank you. They did it at the same time in the same place. Hey, thank you personally too, because you were a big part of that. You've given them lots of advice along the way.
Did your son get a real black belt or
it's a real black belt? No, it's a real black
really?
belt. It's not a distinction. Yeah, he had to do the exact same test as she did.
I know that. But how old is he though?
He's 8. He's 8.
8? Normally, okay. Normally, you don't give a real black belt to an 8-year-old. Normally,
absolutely.
Normally
actually talk about that.
Right.
They talked about that. Like he was one of the youngest ones ever. And because he had her at home to train with, you know, side by side, tomorrow's their celebration. And the funny thing is like, that's what I'm saying. Like watching what they had to do. I mean, he was doing, you know, they're doing push-ups, they're doing the jumping jacks, they're running in place, they're doing the squats, the deep knee bends. I mean, in crazy heat during COVID where you have a mask on, you know, they're out there breaking the 20 boards or whatever it was, and just, you know, really putting in that work. And he's done it 3.5 years since he was 4.5.
See, that's why he's going to be very good. See, what's going to happen is he has the potential of being a grandmaster, because what's going to happen is it becomes ingrained in you, and it's something that you just can't get away with. You might be able to take a break, but you just can't just stop it. It's like
now he's in life.
Yeah,
now he's in the forms every day. He just can't stop. He's like, well,
I will tell you that you can't legally train people the way we were trained.
The way you were, yeah, exactly.
The lawsuits would just, I mean, back in the day I trained, your instructor could actually hit you with like a baton.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was just a different time, yeah.
And my instructor yelled at me. I was always one he singled out. You know, Pearsall, you're moving too slow. You know, get your kicks up, you know. But he was pushing me.
Thanks, Holly.
But some people would take it as, oh my goodness, you know, this guy's harassing me. But that's the way back in the day, you know, and we did, you know, push-ups on, you know, on our knuckles. We actually hit each other. I mean, that was the other thing. I told you, tournaments were actually a vacation for me. It was actually training in the Do Jang because I didn't know what was going to happen. Kids would have little beefs going on, and the fighting was actually really kind of real.
Real deal, yeah. I want to shout out to Bradford, who was giving you some compliments there. He was saying everything he's saying is sound. And earlier he said, this is facts. I train jiu-jitsu. So when you were commenting about the jiu-jitsu style too, and Holly, thanks for your comments there, and everybody just chime in. Professor Pearsall, I wanted to get more into, I'm sorry that I steered you off the path there on the higher end.
I love both.
No,
let's talk about money. Let's talk about
that's what I'm saying. Get us to this professor career and to this personal finance thing. And, you know, what's that all about? And what's your mission now, and how do you do it? And and if you can, tie it all in too. Like, how does martial arts, you mentioned that earlier too, how does that even play any kind of role, if it does, directly or indirectly?
For me, everything's direct. Okay, because I don't distinguish myself. I mean, I'm professor during the day, but I'm also, you know, a Grand Master with this martial arts association at the same time. I'm also getting ready to start some international business venture, you know, which I'm kind of excited about.
Sound like our man AB Money. Shout out to AB Money.
Well, I mean, we will see if it goes that way. But I was talking with one of my contacts, and they said the right word. They said import export, and I really got excited. So anyway, maybe I'll come back and talk to you later. You know, in my bins or something later on. Right, but anyway, but money. One of the problems is that there's inequity, right? That exists. Brown and black, the wealth, 90% of the household wealth was in the hands of whites. Well, they happened to lose 5% of that wealth. It got redistributed to the browns, the yellows, and the blacks. And as a result, they decided to storm the Capitol. Okay, when they have all the wealth, there are systemic impediments that keep us from obtaining wealth here. And the goal of teaching the class was to try to talk about how this system works and how racism is a systemic structural problem. It's not that white people wake up in the morning and say, oh, I don't want a black person to have a house.
Some of them do.
Yeah, all they simply do is they just want to live their life and they want to have houses. And if it means that a black person or a brown person doesn't get a house, that's not their concern. So what the goal of the class is to teach our students, which are predominantly Black and brown, with a sprinkling of other colors, to understand how money works and to understand how you grow money. And I'm also encouraging students to be entrepreneurs. One of the things that schools always do, and that's the problem I had, go get a job, go get a nice job. And what happened was I focused so much on a job that the talents, and then when I started working with people, I was making millionaires money. Because some of my friends are in millionaire business. I mean, I'll go work with them sometimes in the summer, on contracts. They're making millions. And I sit back and I go, we have to go and we have to be producers of wealth. We have to provide, instead of a job, we need to grow wealth. That's what I try to infect in students. And what I do is I talk about the fact that, we as brown and Black, we don't have money in equities. When I say equity, stocks and bonds. Now a lot of our students will play around with Robinhood and all that, which I'm not a fan of all that. Okay.
We've talked a little about that. Yeah.
If you're going to invest, go TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, go something. I'm not saying Robinhood is bad. It's just that it's really not. I'm not comfortable investing through apps. That's just me. Maybe I'm old school. But when I see the vagaries of what goes on in the market, what it is it's important to explain to people that it's important to take advantage of these wealth building tools like index funds, like stocks, like bonds, most, and also real estate. The profile of your typical white family household is they've got money in securities, stocks and bonds. They've got money in retirement systems. They've got money in index funds. They've got real estate. And the challenge is we have to try to create systems where we can own the real estate. So the goal is, if I create some excitement in students, they can then become the politicians of the future. They can then, change the laws and hold the financial institutions who are responsible for keeping us down. I'll give you a classic example with me. I have excellent credit, and I was able to refine it. It's high, but let me tell you, it's not what it should be.
It's not perfect.
A person who has never been late on a bill, a person who pays all of their debt,
you're never late on anything.
should be at the actual top, right? But what often happens with us, I believe that algorithm is structured in a way that keeps us, a little bit lower than we probably should be.
Without a doubt. I mean, we know the history of redlining and all the other kind of tactics that have been used. Of course.
Right.
Yep.
So the goal is teaching people about it so that you can try the tricks that you need to be able to do. For example, it might be combining with some people to buy a piece of property.
Okay.
Maybe if you can't buy it out yourself, go in with someone.
Yo, Fly. How you feeling that? You feeling buying a piece of property?
Man, listen. I believe in hedge fund, and I say all the time, people with money don't spend their own money.
Amen.
Right.
You just don't. It doesn't make sense to do it when you can leverage it.
That's right.
But the challenge for us is banks won't loan us the money. Now, look, I've got some friends. They have, again, $1 million business doesn't make you super wealthy, right? Because the truth is you got expenses, you got all those things. I've got some friends that sometimes they'll go to a bank that they've been dealing with and they can't get a loan.
Right.
How does that happen? That's the kind of problems that sometimes that are structural that we really have to create an advocacy. And my hope is that when we get more of these classes, we can probably get a collection of colleges that can look at it and try to help with some advocacy. And the other thing you do is I would talk about it. I would make these financial institutions feel guilty. See, if you throw it in their face, it forces them to have to look at what they're doing. Because what happens is in America, everybody should have a living wage. you should at least be able to do a couple things. Have shelter, feed yourself. Nobody should have a job, a situation where you got to work 3 and 4 jobs just to make it. It just doesn't make sense, right. Especially when you have a system where the very wealthy in this country have more money than they'll ever spend. Jeff Bezos has more money than some countries. Absolutely. And so when you sit back and you look at it, we have to really, I think, create an army of people who understand how money works, who understand how to make it, who understand how to build it. I'll give you one little tip, and I'll let you go real quick. A community savings. What some cultures do is they'll have about 10 people. Everybody will put $100 in a pot or $200 in a pot each week. And then what they'll do is after a certain number of weeks, they will rotate the money, or they'll do it each. They'll give all that money, and I've had a student said, "Hey, professor, every 6 weeks, I got $4,000." Mm-hmm. He had a group of about 20 people. They would be putting $200 a week in this fund, and after his time would come after about 2 months, and that's money that he was getting. Now, one could argue, well, he could have saved that. Yeah, that's true. But there's a power in a collective, community of doing that.
Is that Susu?
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that term. I know it's.
I wasn't either. He hit me with that. And I had no idea what he was talking about.
It sounds.
I got a business degree too, and I don't know what it is. So I was like, "What is it?" Hit me to that. What is that, Jay Cruz?
Well, I will tell you that it's not anything that I invented. It's actually something. It's what a lot of immigrants that are able to come in and do. Yeah, a lot of cultures. I think Jamaicans do it. Africans do it.
Is that what you're talking about, Jay? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it more along the lines where it is a community of people. I believe Susu, the one I'm referencing, is from the Jewish culture.
Okay, it probably is. Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but it
sounds very similar to what you're saying.
It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing.
Same thing.
Yeah. Now, what's good about those systems is they have a lot of social connections that make people want to be honest. Because what will happen is if you don't pay your bill, you might find yourself not waking up in the morning. Now, I'm not suggesting that. Okay, in America we can't do that. But the truth is, if you're honest with it, it can be a way that you can start building. Yeah. And I think that we need to start using those kinds of systems to give us a little cushion.
Let me hit you with this. Don Juan, who's our producer of the show, he's actually the owner of HipHopCitizen, or one of the co-owners of the show, co-founders. And so he has another comment here too. He said, well, first one, or latest one, all that money in Gates and Bezos couldn't keep their wives, which is true. Let me go in reverse order here. Holly Lang said, I think he's right. She said, I live in Maine. She said, OMG, I never thought about sharing property to get ahead. That's smart. And then your colleague, Professor Oriole, said diversified holdings that stay invested through cycles is key. Don Juan hit you with this comment. Not sure how you feel about this or if this is on your radar or not, but he said, do you feel our youth should focus on sneakers as a value asset class?
No. All right. Okay. Let me explain a little bit about the sneaker problem that I've had for years.
Okay.
The same factory in China that makes what was the brother who used to play for he used to play in New York, and what happened was he went over to China. He was a guard.
Stephon Marbury.
Okay, yeah. Stephon Marbury.
Starbury.
Okay. Yeah. One of the problems I had with Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan knew that children were killing themselves over his shoes. Mm-hmm. And rather than do anything about it, he continued making more shoes, and children continued to kill other kids for those shoes. Now, the same factory that can produce Michael Jordan shoes also made Stephon Marbury shoes that Stephon Marbury was trying to sell for $10, but nobody would buy them.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the problem
all for the youth.
Yes, and the problem is the shoes themselves were no different. The only value we put on Jordan shoes is because you see the icon of Jordan on it, and somehow people put it. It's almost like
it's the same with cryptocurrency in a way.
Thank you. Which is why I recommend to people don't invest in crypto unless you put in crypto what you're willing to lose. Because let me tell you what's getting ready to happen with crypto. A lot of governments are saying, you know what? We're not getting tax dollars. These people got money in crypto. China really don't like it. And what they're doing is they're now developing their own digital currencies. Now, once they develop their own digital currencies, what is that going to do to Bitcoin? Now, you may still be able to make some money off Bitcoin for the next maybe 5 to 10 years. Okay, you still got a little run. But at some point, Bitcoin's going to just drop because it's not going to have any value unless you use it for drug trade or you use it for underground. It will have a value for that. But, but the federal government is upset because they see people buying houses and cars using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency, and they're not getting their slice. Yeah. So what did they do this year? They actually asked the question, do you have any holdings in cryptocurrencies, right?
Right.
Now think about the people that say no. and the government finds out that you've got crypto.
Wow.
What have you done? You've lied on a federal form. What is that? That's a felony. And and that gets you in trouble. So
by the way, I'm gonna say if you want to increase your class rosters tenfold, you just put the word crypto in your course because you teach the business of personal finance. If you can just tweak it, because you're now like, you're part of the whole, well, I don't want to say all your titles or whatever, but you have some more sway this year. Let's just say that. And so if you could put it business of personal finance and crypto, you got a packed house, man. You're going to be in business forever.
My problem is too many of my students don't listen. They're trying to tell me about, crypto. A couple of my, really bright students, and I'm telling them, it's too speculative. I mean, anytime you have somebody like Elon Musk and he blows his nose and the value of the Dogecoin, which is nothing, it's just a idea, and it's floating all this, and people are putting all this money in it. It's crazy. At least Bitcoin has a technology behind it. Also, Ethereum, it has a technology behind it. If you look at the ones that have technology behind it, that might be okay. But the problem is, I would recommend you look for good companies. Okay, look for things that you use. Everybody uses toilet paper. You can put money in a toilet paper company. If you put the money over time, see the secret to getting rich with securities is you put the money in 10 years, your money will double, assuming it's a 7% interest. And a lot of times the interest is higher. Then what happens in the 20 years, it then doubles even more, right?
Yeah. Well, like Don Juan said, I mean, he just said the key words, right? Elon pumped and dumped, knowing there are less SEC safeguards with crypto. And I mean, I think that's hitting the nail on the head because so many people's schemes and ways that they want to teach crypto, whatever, essentially they're tweaked and watered down pump and dump schemes, right? It's like
always.
And so the thing is yes, you can make money on that if you know when to cash out. And you want to make your money on pump and dump schemes, I guess, you teach ethics as well in business. I mean, is this like sort of an ethical thing we want to do? And I understand that people are desperate and people are trying. Anytime there's something that's exciting and all over the news, people are going to use the speculative nature and curiosity of like, what's that whole psychology? You guys probably know better than me. What's the acronym? FOMO, fear of missing out, right?
Yeah.
FOMO. Yeah. I mean, that's real, right? Like people see, he just made a killing. He just made a killing. She made a killing. I got to get in on this, right? And everybody wants to get in on the speculative nature.
There's always somebody. Everyone talks about these Bitcoin millionaires, and yes, there are probably some out there. But remember, a Bitcoin millionaire is not a millionaire till they cash the Bitcoins or they use it, right? They're able to use it. And Quo knows this, and also Professor Oreo can share. One of the things you have to be careful with this. If you have a plan of buying and selling really quick, you're going to run into capital gains issues.
Sure.
Okay. And that can be a problem. Now, what
if you're reporting in the first place.
Crypto has kind of escaped that a little bit because it wasn't really watched. But now that the federal governments around the world are watching it, and they want to make sure they get their slice, that's going to be a problem. I know some day traders who have made hundreds of thousands in a year. You know how much they took home after all the taxes were done?
No.
40, 50.
Maybe 50,000.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You gotta, it's always that whatever, half of it is not yours.
Right. And let me tell you, I know this works. I know the investing works. I was able to overcome.
It always does. Yeah.
Yeah. I was able to overcome I needed some money and I needed it quick. Okay. All right. And I had a pot invested over time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to liquidate all of my holdings. I just went in there, was able to take care of it. I'm good now.
Professor,
because that's the goal of investing, so that you can have the money for college. You can have that money. And the other key that we have to do is we have to leave a legacy.
Right.
One of the problems with browns and blacks, we don't leave legacies. You know what we leave? We leave a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And we leave bills.
That's generational. That's generational.
Please.
That's definitely generational. I feel like the biggest issue is lack of education.
Yes.
And if it hadn't been something that's been taught from generations, which, I mean, I can't think of a trade that hadn't been passed down. I mean, especially pre-technology, computer technology. But whether it was, investing, that's something that most people learn from somebody that probably was in their family, or it was a friend of the family, or something like that. And especially as an African-American person, I can tell you that in my community growing up, you didn't talk about it. People didn't talk about investing. Only investing was in cocaine.
Well,
and that was true because, somebody gave that to them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My grandparents didn't really talk about, investing in things of that nature. My grandmother and grandfather owned the building, but they sold it. They didn't leave it in the family, So it was just more about doing what you could to get ahead. And now more than ever, we're just so caught up. I think it's more of an impulse that we just want to be gratified instantly. That, to me, that's been applied in every facet of our society, whether it's food or sex or money. If it's something that I can benefit from right now, I want to do that. Mm-hmm. And we all know for sure that the great benefit to investing is the long game.
Mm.
You're brilliant, man. You are brilliant.
That's the fly right there, man.
It's the long game. And we think the exact opposite of that when we want something, because especially if you never had anything.
Exactly.
And somebody introduced something to you, whether it's drugs, whatever, where I can gain or benefit from right now, or I'm definitely gonna try and look at the lottery. I mean, we know the odds of you. I mean, the whole gambling industry exists because they make money off of us. If it wasn't set up like that, it wouldn't be in existence, right? So we all know that it's designed for us to lose, but it still generates billions of dollars.
You're so correct about it. And here, I want you to remember this. They're just talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
We're hearing about it. But let me just tell you, from 1864 to 1964, on an average of 2 African Americans were lynched in this country every week. Mm. Why can't you find anything about it in newspapers? It's like it disappeared, right? Yeah. People in Tulsa, Oklahoma are going to school, and they're as young as my good brother with Forever Lives Yahweh. And they don't know anything about it. And what I'm trying to share with you, there have been a host of our communities that were prosperous, that were destroyed through race riots. And so often when we're on the verge of trying to get ahead, it gets knocked down. So I'm being very careful about blaming our people because they just don't know. And when you have bankers not helping you, you have all these institutions, and what they do is they have a blind eye. Remember when they said we were a colorblind community? We're a colorblind country. Okay, that's the last thing we are. Race is infected in everything.
Hey! Don't talk critical race theory here. You're gonna lose everybody. You're all gonna sign off, man. Don't.
Let me tell you, my professorial hat says all I'm teaching is history. I don't want to call it something special. See, when you call it critical race theory, you make something bad out of something good. All you simply say is, we teaching history.
That's it.
And now here's the problem.
And not heritage. You're teaching history.
Right. Here's
heritage.
the problem. The problem is we have been teaching his story.
And that's heritage.
And his story is always the story of the conqueror.
Yep.
I suggest we simply say we're gonna teach the story. So if you change the term and you teach the story, then you're going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly of the American way. And you don't have to, because look, there's great contributions Hispanics have made to this country. Tremendous contributions Asian Americans have made into this country. You know, the Native Americans there's a massive, I don't want to talk about the horrors any group has suffered, but there were millions of folks on this shore. There were millions of people teeming. There were so many buffalo that you could hear the sound.
Thousands of years.
Thousands. Oh, there were millions. And there were millions of people that no longer exist here in this continent. And so you got to tell those stories, because if you tell the story, you don't repeat the horrors. And I think what happens is, I know some of the feeling is that some of our white brothers and sisters are going to feel a little guilt. And they're going to, they don't want to be blamed, but maybe you need to feel a little bit to understand you got some privilege here. You got some privilege because for a number of years, folks were working in this country for nothing. And then when they wanted to get paid, you didn't want to pay them. And even now, there's the whole issue of reparations. People say, oh, it's so divisive. Why is it divisive? It's because, well, some people have benefited from it, and they don't want to give up their benefit. But that's where we have to have the discussions, because the truth is, don't call it critical race theory. It just call it history. You're just going to tell it the good, the bad, and the ugly. And remember, there's good that African Americans have contributed. There's bad that we've contributed too.
Yes, sir. That's the truth.
And so what you do is you say it all, and it's not that you want to make white folks feel horrible. You don't. What you want to do is you want to build a community where we all are American and we can work together. Nobody has to blame anybody. We just have to say we made some mistakes. Let's not make them again.
Let me hit you with a couple comments here. I'm not sure if you've seen them. John just chimed in. He said, agreed. Professor Oreo said, history is always told by the victor. Truth and transparency demand more. John, sorry, I just lost my place there. John said, agreed. History is always told by the victor. Truth and transparency demand more. The problem is, and this is Don Juan, the problem is half of our books are produced in Texas or California. If Texas chooses not to teach theory, then the nation loses. John said thoughts on critical race theory, so I chimed in with that. I was in a discussion today about critical race theory, and I will be tomorrow as part of this movement called America Talks. I don't know if y'all have heard about that, but my wife and I participate in that tomorrow. They pair you up. You answer a bunch of questions, and they pair you up with someone who believes the opposite. And so it's this national discussion. So tomorrow we're both doing that, and I'm on with a very hardline conservative person who, one of their buzzwords is critical race theory. And, critical race theory was the theoretical lens of my dissertation. So I know something about it, but I'll be paired up with someone who, fears it and thinks it's like it's out to attack you and say, oh, white people are bad, which is not it, and the buzzword now with critical race theory that it's now something that's taught in the school is really not true. It's critical race theory, like you said, is a label that if it weren't for that general ideology, you'd still be hearing Miles Standish was wonderful, and there was no slaughtering of the Pilgrims and Native Americans. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus was such a wonderful guy.
Yeah, he was a saint, right?
Yeah, he didn't know that. He just wanted gold so bad. So the millions of people, or not, I shouldn't say millions, thousands of people he killed and getting it. That was just a happenstance. Yeah. We gotta be honest to kind of discuss it. We have to talk about slavery. And I'm going to tell you why we have to talk about it. Because some African Americans don't really want to know. Because what I would tell them, you know how you treat those pit bulls? You know how you have them all mating around and all this? That's exactly the same thing that was done to us.
Breeding.
Okay. So those are things that you have to tell people, because it frustrates me. Some of our students don't realize that you're in America. You got some opportunities that you don't have anywhere else on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And what will happen is they'll have an opportunity to get classes at UDC, and they treat it like, not a big deal, and they drop out. You got an opportunity to get a affordable college education. You can change your life, and you don't understand. So history is important so that you can get a jump start. But I don't think it has to just be in a class. I think universities should take a responsibility of making sure that everybody gets it across the curriculum.
And that's really what I wanted to jump into with you. I've been trying to get there, find a way into that. So I might even show a video in a bit. We usually put a music video, but in this case, we might do a YouTube one. And it's actually one that I said. So a while back, I did a video in November. And I really need you to chime in on this too, because I'm interested in your take. And we may have different opinions on this. I'm not sure. I did a video in November. You've seen some of the ones I post here and there where I'm just talking into the camera or whatever. And, maybe 20, 50 people or something will chime in because I'm not really promoting them. I just throw them out there. And one of them all of a sudden is following a exponential curve. That it's looking like it's on a viral curve. It had 1,400 plays like a week ago. And I just was searching through. I was looking for a different video to put on a website. And all of a sudden pops in my browser the video that I did, and it's like it hit 1,800, and I just seen it. And then it was 2,400, 4,000. Now it's at 7,000, right? So all of a sudden it's exploding because people are looking at colleges. The topic that I raised in this video was about the expense of college. And actually, you know what? I think maybe I should play. I don't want to. Yeah, I'll play.
Yeah, it's better. Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Let me run this for you, and sure. I'm very interested to get your take on it. And by the way, this comes out with I walk it back a little bit. Maybe it's a little sensational with the headline, but you'll see where I'm going with it. And I'm interested in all your thoughts, really, and anybody else who wants to chime in that's listening or watching. So let's try it. Here we go.
Hey y'all, what's good? Professor Lyrical, of course, chilling, doing lunchtime with Lyrical. I got my diet caffeine-free Coke, and really it should be snacks with Lyrical, so I just had snacks. So anyways, let's get right into it. I want to tell you why, as a college professor, I think that college is a waste of money. All right, so that's a little of a crazy title there. I figure I'd keep it as extreme as possible and maybe walk it back a little bit as we go. So here's why it's crazy. Most people go to college, or when you even say college or university, they think a big 4-year university with room and board away from parents and that kind of stuff. Almost a vacation for the parents and the students in some point, in some places, depending on where you go. But the price tag now is anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 for some of your top tier institutions. And if you multiply that by 4, if you're lucky, if you get out in 4 years, let's say you're doing 70 times 4, it's $280,000. Your future you will be mad at you if that's the investment that you made for your future, if you didn't have some or all of that heavily financed, meaning financed percentage free, meaning that you have no interest on that, right? If you had some kind of a low interest loan, perhaps on a very lower amount of money, it's tolerable. But how are you going to pay that back? If you don't have work study or an athletic scholarship or an academic scholarship or some kind of job that you can do that's really a good job, and that doesn't take away from your studies, it's kind of a lethal combination of things you have to do to make it worth your while so that you get the most out of that education. Really, if you're not wealthy, let's just be honest, meaning if you don't have a family that can just pay for it, how could you possibly do that and say that it's a good return on your investment? Now, you can, I guess, if you hit the jackpot and you meet an incredible connection, and let's face it, that's what you pay for to go to these institutions, right? Schools like Northeastern, where I taught for 7 years, an amazing school, top 40 school now, but it's co-op is really what drives that. It's got a co-op plan, and if you're not familiar with the terms, it's essentially an internship, a paid internship in most cases for a year, maybe 2, that you can do while you go to college, and it lengthens the amount of time it takes for you to complete the college degree. But you go to work for a real employer who pays you quality money, $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour, plenty of engineers and business people working in great industries in and around Boston with the booming biotech market and the medical industry that's there and high tech. Just an incredible opportunity, and Northeastern keeps climbing the charts because of it. And they're able to take the best and the brightest, and the GPAs and the requirements to get into Northeastern are incredibly choosy. You got GPAs well over a 4.0 to get in. So who can really afford that? Who can do that unless you want to play the lottery and get lucky and you can afford to do that? If you can't, why would you do it, right? Your future you will be mad at you because you'll be saddled with debt that you can't hope to pay off. So my question is, why not a community college for your first 2 years, or maybe a state school for your 4 years, or maybe a combination of both, right? First 2 years at the community college, then transfer into a state, or really if you knocked it out the park and got those academic scholarships that you needed to get by showing improving in your first 2 years and getting a GPA like a 3.5 or higher, probably some money's going to be thrown at you. Then it makes sense, right? You can go to those elite schools and maybe try to make some of those contacts from your peers, your faculty, the administrators, the people who come to your campus. It's probably very prolific if it's charging that much money. And of course, we understand, when it's not COVID time, the nightlife in some of the major cities, these colleges are in, like Boston, it's a destination city. Places like I'm out here, DC. I understand if you want to come to a major city, or you're trying to go to New York, LA, wherever, markets like San Francisco, what have you, Atlanta. But if you're not going to like one of those top tier kind of places to be, right, for the business world and their environment and nightlife, it's kind of like, why would you do it? Your future you will be mad at you when you come back with all that debt. So my solution: go to a community college and transfer to a state school if you didn't actually kill it there either. Because really, I went to a state school. I went to UMass Lowell. I got my bachelor's and my master's there, and I went to Northeastern for my doctorate. And really, the last degree is really the one that people look at the most. I mean, of course, people are going to ask you about your bachelor's, but how you did it is a great interview point. If you talk about that, you went, the first couple of years, community college, you transferred. I mean, essentially, you played the game and you did it frugally. And that's what people are going to look for: somebody who can save them money, make good decisions, show that they have some grit and determination. And it's a wonderful sell in an interview, as opposed to I went to an elite institution, just because I was able to, and you didn't kill it. So my argument is, if you're coming out of an elite institution with like a 2.3 to a 3.0, as opposed to going to a state institution, you can come out and kill it with like a 3.5, 6, 7, something north of that. Well, why not save your money and show that you can do it there? And there's an argument to be made that the GPA could even be a little bit easier if you start out at a community college, where you typically have people trying to show you the ropes of college in your first year, or if not two. That's what community colleges are somewhat designed to do, right? It's not saying that it's easier, but they're showing you the ropes. So it becomes easier for you when you learn these things if you didn't have the cultural capital going in. The classes are going to essentially be the same, but you might have better access to your faculty than you'd have at some of these more elite institutions. So think about all that, wrap it all up, and think about, do you want to pay 10 years? Do you want to pay 10 grand a year for 4 years, maybe 20? You do a state school or so forth, and you're even if you're dorming, or do you want to, eat that up in one semester at an elite institution? Think about it. All right, thanks.
Wow,
really good.
Yeah, that's right on point. I mean, I think you and I are.
Okay.
I think we think very similar about that. I will tell you that I'm a big fan of community colleges. Obviously, I'm a community college professor, right?
Right.
And I love my job. Okay, make sure any of the deans out there, President Mason, I love my job.
Professor Floyd's opinions are not necessarily those of the University of the District of Columbia or Northeastern, for that matter. Yeah.
Right. But what I want to say is this, though. Industry has often said that they're saying now that colleges are not producing the skills that they need in people they hire. I think that there's a time now for a revolution in higher ed, for us to really do a restructuring of curriculum. And I think community colleges are a great place, because a community college takes, all comers. And what it does is it gives everyone an opportunity to advance. I'm very proud to share with you that in 2021, I had students that I taught who took multiple classes from me. They got their associate's degree. I've got a few that got their baccalaureate. They went on, from the community college, got their baccalaureate. They happened to let me know. They said, hey, and I got 2 that got their MBA. And each of them thanked me that I played a small role. And I was honored that I played a small role to these people. Indeed. And some of the students that I've dealt with, if you knew what they were doing before they got into community college, you don't want them out there on the street.
Right.
You want them in a community college.
Right.
And the thing is that we can make a difference, but it's about teaching skills. And I know that I feel, because I love my students, but I know that my classes aren't always the easiest. I mean, the students will complain. They think I'm a madman. Why are you making me write? Why is this? Students are always. But I try to tell them that I've worked in the real world. I know what it's like. I know what you're going to face. I know how the corporate environment is so mean, and it can be done in a way that you don't even know it's coming. And and you have to have certain skill sets,
right?
And so I talk about those skill sets and I drill it in. And but I go back to what you said. The traditional college, it's ridiculous. Our country, it's ridiculous. We need to look at how other countries provide college for free. We need to look at how colleges can be low cost
or cheap.
To me, it ought to be cheaper because it's our national security at stake.
That's right.
And I don't understand why we make stuff so expensive to where you have the mass of us can't seem to get this. The Germans have a model, an apprenticeship model for white collar jobs. And that's why I think, when you have internships and other opportunities with education, that's really what's going to get you the job. When industry knows that you already know how to work, they know that you already know how to show up to work.
Yeah.
Those are the things that you're going to get. And you hit it right on. I thought that, matter of fact, I'm surprised that you haven't gotten into the Kardashian realm with your viral. But
give it some time. Give it some time.
Yeah,
man.
I will bless you. You'll get there. Okay.
I appreciate it. We need that. We need that.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. Yes, sir.
The one thing I could say that I feel like should take immediate action would be like the job that you're working for, wherever that may be. If you're getting a payroll, you're getting, you got your 401k, your health deductions, all that stuff. If it's a legitimate job you have, they should all offer some type of college reimbursement if you decide to further your education.
Absolutely.
And it's sad that like Fidelity did that, but of course they're going to do that, right? Post office does that. That's a good look. Why don't they? This job, even McDonald's, even, right?
Public funds,
offering.
They'll argue. Yeah.
That.
Well, I remember when my company, when I first started working after I got my baccalaureate, I worked for Travelers Insurance Company. I was a claims adjuster in the Baltimore area. And it was something strange happening. I got a call one day. I decided I was going to, go get my master's. So I just went ahead and started paying. My employer was going to pay for my classes. So my employer paid for the classes the first semester. All of a sudden, my manager calls me in, and the manager is questioning whether or not I'm using company time while I'm driving around visiting claimants. That I'm actually using that time instead of being in a classroom. I then decided that I would not get any money from my company. I would pay for it myself. Let me just show you how God works. I paid for one semester. I was going part-time. I got a call from Morgan State University. Shout out to Morgan State. Shout out to HBCUs. And they said, you were a pretty good student. Would you like money? I said, oh, sure. They had a fellowship for me. I got $1,000 and they paid for all of my courses.
Wow.
And that, and I was able to get my MBA that way. So that's one of the things I try to do. I encourage my students, be a good student. You never know, where that can actually lead you. But I know that in corporate environments, sometimes they will give you hassles when they know that you're trying to advance yourself, if that's not what they want to do. So you have to then invest in yourself, and you have to try to figure out how you can make it work. It might mean going to a different company, but you always need to grow, and you always need to expand, and you should be a lifelong learner.
Doesn't stop.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. Your progression never stops. I've had several careers. I went from federal, I was in the political realm for a while, and federal government, nonprofit association executive. Then I went into higher ed, did some stuff in private sector, Still dabbling in private sector, hoping that my international thing goes good. Yay.
I call that, Professor. I call that the redwood theory.
Oh, what's that? Please share.
So that's the redwood. They just keep going and going and going. Right. Your oak tree only gonna go so far. Your bush only gonna go so far. Right. Redwood theory is the way to go. Go as high as you can. And don't stop.
Well, that's I believe in that. Like we're getting ready to do this. Is here about martial art. We're getting ready to create a designation in the martial art community that's going to blow people off storm. Okay, I got some Grand Masters that are in this thing with me. I'm getting ready to kind of create it, and it's going to be something that we hope will really further, create some movements within the martial art community. But it also is an entrepreneurial, endeavor for myself. I believe in multiple streams of income. Okay, I believe in that. Multiple streams. If you have your paper route, right? Back in the day, I know you young folk don't know what a newspaper is. It's actually something made of cloth, of wood.
I see them every Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
Every Thursday.
And the point is, when you have multiple streams, if anybody knocks off one of the streams, you still got money coming in. And the other thing you want to do is you want passive income. So that's the goal, is to get income where you're sitting on your behind and you're still making money. That's why I talk to students about index funds. My students are so young. When you're in your 20s, you start putting money in the index fund. And you keep putting money in an index. You have about 2 or 3 nice index funds. Vanguard, Fidelity have a bunch of them. You put money in those things. By the time you in about 30 years, you're going to be a millionaire easy. Okay. By the time you get my age, you're going to be multiple millionaire. And then you look at the different things. Some of it's going to be in a Roth IRA, right? Roth IRA, don't have to pay taxes on that. But then some of it, right. And some of it's going to be in a traditional. All right. But the thing about it is you use diversity. Diversity is the key. Have a little bit in Bitcoins. Now, I shouldn't say Bitcoin, but crypto, because we don't even know what the real star crypto might not even be. It might be in that whole bunch of cryptos. We don't know yet. Right. But one of the things you have something there, you have something in maybe, let's say, technology. You maybe have something in retail, whatever. You just have a hodgepodge, which is what index funds are, right? And so but I always try to recommend people individual stocks for us poor people. It's not the way to get real rich. You're better off with an index, because the index is investing in thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Some of those index funds have holdings in the trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
But see, if you as an individual start playing around with 1 or 2, let's say you got 20, 30, few hundred stocks. As an individual, maybe you get 300,000. Maybe you get 200,000.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll tell you too, just coming from that realm, professionals would be studying like at most a handful.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's like you and when I'm talking about studying, it's like you're AM to PM on those 3 to 5, and that's it. Right. I like what BB Flockin said here. He said, or BBF, education is the torchlight of civilization.
Bingo.
I like that a lot.
Did she change it up to civilization? Lemonade stands and paper routes keep me paid as a shorty. You got to diversify your bonds. Jizza Wu-Tang Financial. And Jonathan, what up, Jonathan? Just hit him up. Crypto feels too risky, but I could be wrong. What up, Tree? I'm sorry, some of our
Can I give some
going through our normal feed wasn't going through? So
I want to hear your insight. Come on, brother.
I'm not super well versed in it, but I just gotta say that prior to COVID hitting, I was going heavy into. I wanted to really dive into the marijuana stocks. I found some great companies that I was interested in. I felt like if it was all legalized, federal level, it could blow up. And then COVID hit, And I was working with a coworker, and I was educating him on some stuff, and he said, "What about crypto?" And I was like, "What?" Or Bitcoin, he said. I said, "What?" Yeah, I've heard that. That's funny you say that. And then he started studying it. We started looking into it and noticing the trend. And I said, it's funny because to me, it's always been a joke. Crypto, Bitcoin, all this stuff, just a laughing stock. What is it, right? And then I started to realize, I'm thinking, man, this is an international currency. Like if you go to China, you want a hamburger, you can pay crypto to get that burger. Same if they came here, right? And then I find out Canada, they can pay their phone bill, their rent, electric with crypto, right? And I'm like, wow. So I'm seeing, okay, this
where'd he go? Hold on.
Place to exist. The environment wasn't right. And now this environment seems to make sense where people don't want to touch a penny and a dime and a nickel, and they don't want to touch dollars no more. They want to have it all digital. So I just feel, to me, it's like it is that new baby, even though it's not new, but long term, I feel like there is some people that are in this crypto game as far as a currency goes, that actually may have some pretty cool value down the line, but it's still so much of a baby, and it's the tangible.
I would put money in it. I mean, put enough money that if you lose it, you're not gonna you want to jump out the window.
Right.
Just put some, because I think there is, at least for the next 10 years or so, there may be some like that. And also the other thing, Bitcoin, because there's a nation right now. I forgot what is a Latin nation that just said they're accepting Bitcoin as like a major currency.
Yeah, that just came out. Yeah.
Right. Now, I think there might be some drug trade interest going on in that. But hey, look, you didn't hear it from me, okay? Yeah. But the point is, I don't think Bitcoin is going away. I don't think Ethereum's going away. I think that when these nations start moving toward their own digital, they're going to shove it to where it probably will go down. But if you've already got it, remember, you can still trade it. So, there are people buying houses with it. So just be careful. I'm just saying,
you can spend it because you can trade it, which is what one group of people do, and you can actually spend it, but
I feel like the future is going to be these, like Facebook, YouTube, all these different places are going to have their own face on their own coin.
And so will celebrities, and that will be the thing that it'll get so out of hand, right? With like celebrities at some point making their own, because really the technology's out there for anyone to
the non-fungible stuff. Yeah, right.
And so that's definitely the way it's going, and that's what led to, in my opinion, that's what I don't have the factual basis to say that, but when you think about the non-fungibles, right, that's essentially the middleman, if you will, to everyone when they are able to make their own currency.
Joke, my friends. Remember,
of course,
the non-fungibles,
but it's a joke.
The only value is it if Quo makes a S, and I go, wow, I'm going to spend $1 million on his S, and other people jump in and say, I'm going to spend $1.2 million. Now he's got something, but the problem is it's nothing. I recommend look at stock of good, sound companies, and that's, to me, over time.
Yeah, everyone wants it today and now, though. And I get that. I get that, because it's not a joke if you got it like that. If you have a name like that and the people are really excited, or you come up with your own personal art or whatever, what I'm always saying, Quo and I, we talk about this a lot too, and everybody, a lot of the communities that I, walk between, it's everybody's trying to say, like, is this right for me? And as artists, we have to think about it too. Do we want the NFT for the, the ProQuo show, which, by the way, I got to count the comments here. And whoever is, let's just do it like this. Let's say it this way, Professor Pearsall, because I wasn't keeping track. Sure. So the fifth unique person who puts a comment in there, who puts it in there, I'm going to say your name. And if you're the person, hit up the ProQuo show at gmail.com. We're going to get you one of these shirts. But
for your shirt,
the ProQuo show is, I got to
don't guess get
we're looking.
I'm just saying.
Oh no, I'm saying so we got right there, right after the fifth one that comes through in there, the fifth unique person, right? Like the non-fungible fifth person. But my thing is like, if celebrities got it like that and they can do it, just like this thing. What's it called when you get the shout out from the celebrity? What's that thing called? When you pay like $500 and they'll shout you out. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh,
it's like I can't command $500, but if you can command $500 for someone to do that, and I realize some people are giving that to charity, they might have it like that, and for them it makes sense. Those kind of people might be the people that if they got something custom for an NFT, it makes sense. For Quo and I at this stage, like us making an NFT is just kind of cute. You know what I mean? It's just like kind of it's cute. It could work. Right?
I would not. I've been telling you, I would consider it because there have been some really things that in my old mind,
things can shoot up.
In my senior citizen mind, I think it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
However, when people will spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars on somebody's little squiggly thing, or some of it is really good art, right? But it's digital art.
Right.
And so remember, money is only $1 bill is only worth $1 because we say so.
Right.
It's only a piece of cloth, people. That's all it is. But because it has one on it and it has a face of a not so dead president, because I think he's not really dead if you're still using the money, right? And it only has that value. It's fiat money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. It's not, it doesn't have gold behind it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so that's the way money is getting ready to go. As long as we have a medium of exchange, as long as we can be able to buy something with it, then that's a good thing. And I think that what's happening, what I like with the younger generation is they're toppling a lot of this foolishness. Many young people, they don't have the same racial bigotry issues that the previous generation has had. They're growing into accepting people. It's going to be a day when a white person calls a black person, a dumb butt. He just means that. He means it's not like a racial thing. He really means that black guy is a dumb. And we're going to end up getting to that point because this younger generation seems like it's sort of moving to it. But you always got to remember what the drivers are. What causes inequality is power struggle. And it's the imbalance of power. And when people are resistant to giving other people their fair share, that's when you have the conflict. So the goal is to try to create something in a money system, in our educational system, where everybody can share. One classic example is the test for the SAT and GMAT and all those. I'm a horrible test taker.
Mm-hmm.
If I take those tests, you're going to think that I'm a person who didn't even finish school.
Mm-hmm.
And many African Americans don't do well on measurements that measure the education of Europeans. We just don't. It doesn't mean we don't have brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
George Washington Carver, how many products did he produce out of a potato?
Right.
And how many inventions came from enslaved people that the enslaver claimed as their own? And what I'm saying is that the brilliance that exists in Americans has to be all embraced. Don't create an artificial instrument simply because there's certain groups, whites, Asians, and because they think perhaps similarly on instruments. There's brilliance in black people that is left untapped. So what you've done is you're wasting the nation's resource because you've created a climate where you're locking up more. A whole bunch of people, more people are locked up in the United States than any other country on the planet. And some of these people have been ruined, that it's hard to make them productive. We have to change the way we do it.
John asks let me read these backwards. Jonathan Picken just chimed in, very true. John K, is capitalism dying? He's asking. And then Jonathan was saying repeating, mimicking, matching. Tree was saying amen. Jonathan, there's a degree of social and generational buy-in that I don't see some random crypto repeating. Okay. and he was saying it's all fiat.
Well, random crypto is going to be hard to, because the problem with crypto is there's a whole bunch of them. They keep coming up with new crypto all the time.
Yeah, Bradford, I think, is speaking to that a little bit. He says it won't be long. They're trying to figure out the regulations now, and they know they can't stop it. They're just trying to slow it down until the government
they're going to stop it.
and the power that can be get their hands on it.
When the central banks create digital currencies,
right?
That only they recognize.
Yeah, that's the stop.
And then when they tell you that it's illegal to trade in any other way, that's coming now. Okay, it's going to come.
Yeah, and then it's black market.
It's going to be black market.
Yeah.
And then you're going to start, and when people are mining and doing other things with digital currencies that are not accepted by the quote unquote governments, China is making a move. That China's getting ready to say, we're not dealing with the dollar anymore. China is getting ready to move to create its own digital because China wants to be the number one currency. And the Western nations are behind the dollar. So you're going to have a major battle between these giants just deciding what money is going to be, what money is going to look like, whose money is going to have the most value. Because China's not backing down. China and Russia, they got that block, and you got the Europeans. And so the goal is where's the world going to go? And so what's missing? There's a sleeping giant called Africa. Got a whole bunch of kids over in that continent. A lot of things can happen in this world. May not be in the next 100 years. A lot of things can end up happening, and so everything is a jockeying and positioning of resources. And that's what money is about. It's armies, money, all of those kinds of things. But crypto is something you can explore. I'm not saying don't explore it. I just don't want you to put everything in it. I just want you to just use some rational, basic principles. Be safe with your money. Grow it over time. Don't try to get rich quick.
Get educated about it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it works. It absolutely works. I'm not telling you something I'm guessing. I'm telling you, I wasn't born.
What is it? What are you referring to? What's it? You said it works.
Oh, slow, long-term investing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
Slow, long-term. Put your money in. Forget about it. Don't look at it all the time. Look at it every once in a while, but don't look at it every day. If you look at it every day, you're going crazy because you're going to think you're losing money. You're going to think you're losing money because stocks just dip. They dip. But if you look at the average of a stock, especially the major exchanges, they're always going up over a 10-year period.
So Tree, I'm going to give a shout out to Tree. Tree, you were the fifth comment after I put in the thing there.
Ooh, so Tree.
And Tree is definitely a loyal supporter, so that works out really well. So Tree,
loyal.
Hit us at the email I put in the chat there. It's theproquoshow@gmail.com.
You are the winner.
Yeah, you can pick up a ProQuo shirt from whatever supplies we have left. I'm not exactly sure what your size is and what you're looking for, but we'll try to cover you with what we have. In fact, while the people are checking us out here, let's show them what we're talking about here. So on the side right there, that's the ProQuo shop. That's on ProfessorLyrical.com. You can check us out over there. It's ProQuo shop. So one of these shirts here, we got them in different colors: blue, black, royal blue, whatever, gray. Those are what they look like. So Tree, hit us up. Yeah. So there it is. That's the official sponsor.
Official. And one of the unofficials that help you when you're thirsty is Mr. Poland Springs.
Oh, the unofficial.
When it's too hot, you got to drink water. So let Quo drop a rhyme, and maybe Pro could jump on that two-wheel fly. You don't know.
Ooh.
Let's talk those money bags.
I hear you going there.
Just water.
Just water.
It's not just water.
It's not. It's Poland Springs.
That's right.
There you go. You see the volley right there?
That's how we do it. That's how we get
so
down.
What I was going to ask you too, Professor, is
yes, sir.
You believe in when you get closer to retirement, like when you're in that, close to 65, to start moving more conservative and all that, or do you still feel long term?
Yeah, you can, but what happens is, I want to tell you, 65 now is not your mom and dad 65.
That's right. It's totally
right. I can tell you now 65, 66-year-olds are jumping out of planes. They're running marathons.
My mom and dad, 65 isn't 65. Yeah.
I want to tell you what my retirement did. As soon as I retired, I had job offers. As the word got out that I was retired, I started getting people calling. I went over to become. I was a deputy director over at the National Association for Black Law Enforcement Executives. I did that for 2 years. Then you get another call, and many people in my family were joking. They said, "Well, I thought you were retired," and I've never retired. I do so much, I love my work at UDC. I don't even feel like it's work, and so and I'm typical of the way a number of seniors are doing now, and so I'm telling you, and a lot of people they don't, they try to guess my age, and they don't even come close. And then when I actually tell them my age, they get this scared look like, "Oh my God, is he about ready to die?" Not
yet.
So right, and so what I'm saying is that people, and like I tell all my students, why, especially my young brother over there, forever lives Yahweh. Let me tell you, you are likely, very likely, without any question, as long as you stay away from the cocaine and the alcohol and now maybe a little cannabis. I'm not gonna say,
I'm good on all that.
Yeah. Just try to limit it to a little bit, like once a week. But anyway, you're gonna live to be 100 years old. They will tell you, they say any baby that's born right now. I think they're saying over half of the children born today are definitely going to live over 100 years old. There's advances in medicine. They're able to replace parts. They're increasing, it used to be a time 50 years old was old.
Yeah.
And that's why
2039, baby, the singularity, you live to then, you're good.
Right. And that's why Social Security moved it up to 70, because it used to be you could retire around 55 because they thought most people were going to be dead at 40.
Jonathan said, "Amen to that. Age is malleable." He also chimed in on "Water is why El DeBarra still has a smooth voice at nearly 60. I fully co-sign the point about our society wasting so much human potential and discarding people who could contribute so much to this world. Very true. John, the other John asked, "Is capitalism dying?" earlier too, and Bradford.
No.
Right. I think Bradford's kind of speaking to that too. He says, "Only way they can stop it is by canceling the internet. And if history is any indicator, when you ban something, it drives up the value. Like y'all said, the black market is where all the money is. Everything you guys are saying is true and will happen, but regulation won't stop it, just hinder it. And we know the rich, wealthy have never played by the rules, and government turn a blind eye, if not run
women, the rich and wealthy have played by the rules. It's just that we don't know what the rules are.
What the rules are. You got to know the rules.
They're the only ones that know it.
They know them meticulously.
And the reason why they know it is they make
code. Tax code. They make tax code.
I mean, look.
Yeah, look at the state. Look at the estate laws.
You worked in Wall Street. They make the rules.
That's it, man.
Okay.
That's why you got to listen to Robert Kiyosaki. Get out the rat race.
You have to listen to voices you don't want to listen to, because it unlocks the truth that you can kind of move around and work with. You got to understand the way rich folk think.
Speaking of which,
their high priority is that
we got up on 11, boys. We got figure this time here. I tell you, Professor Pearsall just make the time go by.
I'm telling you, I'm having fun here. I tell you,
you guys, you come in anytime, man. Anytime.
Well, no, it's my honor. I tell you, this is a really it's been a really enjoyable. You've made this old man. I think maybe you've added another 20 years to my life. So
I like that.
I can live to be 200 now.
Absolutely.
Everybody thinks I'm about 100 now.
Fly is a regular here. We tell everybody that Fly is part of the fam, but we tell everybody, if you've been on once, you can be on 100 times. You can always come on through and jump into the like we do with you. We have you primarily featured early, and then we just can add people into the conversation. So feel free to come in anytime, Professor Pearsall. We need a business minute. We know to hit you.
Finance. I don't know. I didn't know how you're gonna pull that hat trick off, but you did it. You did it, my brother.
Man, that's your world, man. It's like hip hop and math. How you make it work. You know what I'm saying?
As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to go. I'll be in Atlantic City tomorrow at an expo, that a martial art expo. So because we got to, do it. We're promoting our stuff, so we got to be in the crowd with our customers.
We needed you to get up and like give us a punch or a kick or something earlier. I should have had you like clear out the back and give us some board breaking or something.
Remember, I'm an old man. So if I start punching, I might break something, pull something out.
Yeah, man. Hey,
I live off my dreams, and that's and I was lucky. I mean, I was able to have a high degree of skill back in the day, but I mean, I recognize
that's the modern kick right there. If y'all didn't chime in earlier,
the man himself.
That foot's on the way down, and you see that toe's like over his head, right? So it's like
your collarbone is done.
Yes.
That was designed to wipe out a collarbone or hit you.
Just wipe it out. And that collarbone don't exist no more.
Right. And I was a lot heavier then, so you can imagine if I hit you with that one. Yeah, it would not be nice. But see, now what I do is if you come at me in the street now, I can't kick like that, and I'm going to just crush your shin. Crush your kneecap. I can really bust your kneecap. Put this weight in your kneecap. You will not walk. So those are the things you do when you're old.
That's an old man. That's a dad strength.
No, what it is understanding your limitations. I'm an old man. I cannot be fighting. And so if somebody comes, I'm not going to sit there. I will lose if I'm bouncing around with some young person. I'll get huffy puffy. No. You just have to go real quick, kneecap, legs.
Hey, if we ever get back, I'm telling you, if we ever get back to campus, man, if any drama pops off, I'm just walking over to your office, be like, hey, what y'all say?
I'm running to security. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's great.
But gentlemen, thank you so much. It's really been an honor.
For real, man.
Honor there as well.
Yes.
We appreciate you, Professor Pearsall. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you. So how do I
We'll kick you out.
I knew you were probably waiting that. I'm going to kick you out.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
That was his punchline.
You're going to count to 3. 1, 2.
Hey, make a rhyme like that. Throw me in, my Professor Pearsall, with your rhyme and kicking me out. That'd be great.
All right, it goes like this.
Put the master karate and you kick me out. That might another viral too.
Professor Pearsall, count to 1, 2, 3. I can't hear y'all. Okay, that's how it goes. That's how it goes now. But
man, that was great. That was really
great. I enjoyed him, man.
Yeah, man. He's a great guy. He's
hey, Fly, that camera be looking real nice right now on you, brother.
It's that white shirt. He knows how to do that. It's that white shirt. He's learning. He's learning. He's forever lives Yahweh. I see it. I see it. Now, where might we get that shirt?
I don't know, man.
It's a one-offer
right here, B.
It's a one-off. I know something about that. It's kind of like this hat right now. I mean, it's a one-offer, but Jay Cruz knows where to get those hats at, right?
I do.
I'm working on it.
Hit up the DM if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
that.
Boys,
I would. I'm another great episode with some great people. Fly, as always, pleasure to have you in the building with us, man.
Man, it's always a pleasure. I can't imagine my life without ProQuo on Friday nights, man.
I don't think we can either. Every Friday,
that's a hashtag too. That's a hashtag. That's at least a tweet, right?
My life is forever changed.
Forever lives ProQuo. Oh,
exactly.
Forever lives the ProQuo show. Yeah, man. Well, we appreciate having you, man. As you know,
yes, sir.
That's an always. Freedom, hey, man, loving the video, man. Loving the shovel today, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I was catching that right before I jumped on here, bro.
Yeah, if y'all got to check out Forever Lives Yahweh, his page out here. He's got a new video out. He's in the yard with the shovel. I'm not gonna say too much, but he's in the yard with the shovel, and he's not really using the shovel until the very end. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if there was a metaphor in there that you would with that shovel.
Yeah, it was, and my son, he's 11, man. He's like obsessed with TikTok, and he's got like over 1,000 followers, and so he films and edits videos all day, all night. And so, like, I'm a family first person, man. So I'm always thinking about ways to integrate with my kids, And so I'm like, man, you know what? I like styling for free. He loves shooting videos, and he's always asking me questions like, Dad, what you think about this? And I was looking at your video, Dad. Well, I said, you know what? I kick off Fly Style Fridays. You can do the videos, and I pay him too.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's legit right there.
Yeah.
That's the real deal.
He's always talking about his brother, because he has an older brother that does, work for my parents, stuff like that. And he always finds ways to earn money, so he's kind of jealous. He's like, man, Dad, I need a way I can make some money. Right. So I'm like, well, this is your niche. So you shoot the videos, you edit them. I don't care how it looks. You're gonna practice on that till you get great at it, and you can charge other people for it. He's just 11, and so he shoots the videos and he does all the editing and all that, and I pay him. So it works out.
So you mean this?
Definitely.
Hey.
Hey, hit the line for the Venmo. I'm only riding with my kinfolk. I never gave a fair info. I touched down, I'm in the end zone with the most high, no endo. Heaven about to pour down blessings, man. Open up that window. Go time. Pass it like magic, it's showtime. Be ready, told me he knowing if I keep it going, I'm blowing in no time. Cocaine flow, these dope lines. Oops. Oh my, in the form, no lie. Blow by. Pop, yeah, I get the spinach. Don't wait for the game. I go hard on the scrimmage. Can look in their face and can tell that they timid. Can look at my face, cause I'm made in this image. I'm meant to the throne. You can look at the lineage. I swing for the fence like I'm independent. It's freedom corner. You know we independent like I'm a lieutenant. I know that I'm winning. Gotta see the table like I'm in the Senate. Romeo Miller, my father said there was no limit. I'm living life like a movie. Dropping hits like a Uzi. I'm from Chicago, you goofy. Streets is hotter than jacuzzi. If you don't like it, then sue me. Try to copy, then do me. I remember when we barely pitch a penny. Went the harder way like my name is Penny. Many days I was praying for the plenty. If you say I struggle, probably wouldn't offend me. Couldn't really, it would never really end me. Get the chips, then I dip skinny.
Haha.
Merce said of the Grant's past wifey in the bag like she in a Fendi. Yeah.
Right here. Right here.
I made it at the bottom like I hit the lotto. And I'm screaming, Jesus did it. You know that's the motto. And it ain't nothing that you gave me. But it's the struggle, that's what made me. Right back, I'm coming in fly like a flight back. I got Mitchell and Ness on the snapback. Had a white woman say that's a nice hat. Now if I was impressed then I might clap, but I keep it 100 like White Cow. I drink from the well like it's on tap. I dance on the devil I might tap. Yeah, the struggle through two, I do fight back. Now you better know I'ma fight back. I'm at Pioneer Square for the nightcap. With my pockets on swole, need the ice pack. Yeah, I might Ike him, then beat the beater like Mike Tyson. Or I might ice him, but it's not enticing. Married to the pen, I got that in writing. Got a lot of drive, I'ma need a license. See, I love cake, but I don't like icing. Wifey told me to dig in, so I TL her like my name Bryson. Yeah, I got the tail like a Midas. When it come to my life, I'm decisive. I go for the goal like a pirate. I'm fighting like one of the Irish. Too many suffered in silence. Yeah, been through the struggle, I'm tired. Go hard until I get everything I wanted, like I'm Billie Eilish. Yeah, and I got my eye on the iris.
We all waiting for him to pull that shovel out.
And I done made it at the bottom like I hit the lotto. And I'm screaming, Jesus did it, you know that's the motto. And it ain't nothing that you gave me, but it's the struggle, that's what made me.
Pull that shovel out. There we go. Yeah.
Hey.
That's what I was waiting on. Yo, that's genius. I'm just waiting for that shovel to come out the ground. I was like, that's good.
Yeah, man. I hope they were digging that, B. You know, man, I had a whole lot of ideas with that shovel, man, that we shot a lot of different methods, and I just let him go with whatever he wanted to go with.
That was a crazy verse, though. Yeah, that was a crazy verse. You got a lot of one-liners in there, man. A lot of one-liners.
Appreciate it. I have fun, man. I was just having fun with it, man. I actually am doing another one tomorrow. I'm gonna record.
You go for that gold like a pirate.
Like a pirate. Do you feel
like a pirate?
You are.
I mean, you know, when you want to throne, you could check the lineage. That's, you know.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited, man. Look, so this is what I want to do, though. I want to expand, of course, eventually where, you know, Fly Style Fridays feature other artists, man. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if y'all feeling like, you know, you want to have fun with something, drop something down, shoot it to me, man, because I want to build it to that.
I like that.
Yeah, I want to build it to that, man, to give a platform from other artists, just to have fun. You know, you always hear that beat on the radio, you're like, oh, I'll kill that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want to have fun with it. So we'll see.
Jonathan said, "Dope video, man. Stripped down, no nonsense, real." Yeah, that was it. That's the genius of it. It's just like the dude just standing in the yard spitting the bars, man. I like videos like that. Simple. That it's just like, yo, let me just hear the person spit and just see a little bit of them in the element or some element like that, and just kind of like let them vibe out.
Yeah, let it ride, yo.
Yeah,
very, very good.
Yeah, I actually don't like videos that switch a million seats. You know, like people that like to do a bar every second. It's like bang, 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 bang. I'm just like, yo, chill.
That's what my 0111 mom be coming in. I'm like, yo, we're gonna do it every hi-hat.
Yeah, it's
every
like
hi-hat.
It's crazy. It's hard to even watch that, you know? It's like some of the first videos I had were like that. People try, I'm like, no, don't do that. Sure enough, that's what they went and did. It's like, did. I'm like, come on, yo.
Yeah. It's cool, man. I remember watching this one dude from the UK. He had this video back in the 90s. No, I'm sorry. That was like early 2000s. And he's just rapping and he's walking the sidewalk. And the whole video just him walking the sidewalk. And it was so dope. And actually, you ever seen that chick that did that brush your teeth? You seen that?
That sounds familiar.
Dude, it's the same theory where she's down the street and she's moving down the street, walking down the street, and the whole video.
You say Fly bit that from her? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Where you going with this?
No, but I'm just saying it was a dope. Like the point is it's that scene is the same scene. It's not like chopped in and out. It's a fluid 2-minute, video, which is like really dope. I like that too.
Yeah,
man. So that's where that was coming from. But yo, check that out, y'all. To brush your teeth. I think that's the name of it. Just man, she went off.
You're gonna have to find that one for us. You have to find that one.
Next episode.
Next episode, bring that back to the lab. Bring that back. Yo, I want to tell everybody right now, or anybody who's checking out the very end here, whatever. On the 16th, we're gonna do a listening party. We're gonna do a listening party. We're gonna drop that album. We're gonna play that whole album. We're gonna run through, have some commentary. I think Jay, in straight time, that thing's like 50 minutes, right? That album, that's like 53 minutes, right?
and a half, I think.
So so we got some little time on the edges there. Do some commentary. Maybe have some of the producers in here. Definitely got to have Fly in here. That's no question. Fly, the only person who's on 2 tracks.
Is this okay? So you're talking about on the ProQuo show, man. I'm thinking I got to book a flight, man. I'm like,
no. We're talking on the show, man. We're talking on the show.
Like, hold on, B. Wait a minute, B.
I mean, if somebody changed those plans or something, we could always go to the pre-record. But you know what I'm saying. But for the plan is to do that. And then on the 2nd, we might do a little mini listening party too for the single. So
that's a Friday, July 16th. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Fee coming through on the 25th, I think it is, 25th of June. So check that out. Don't miss that too. And I'm gonna be
seeing Fee and Ruby next Saturday.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
We got a little double date going on. We were bringing the girls with us.
Okay. Yep. The girls, because I was gonna say, you mean your women?
Shannon Ruby.
I thought you were talking about your girls. Okay, I see what you're saying. I was like, they don't have kids. Like,
yeah. Not the little ones. Shorty 1 and Shorty 2.
The women, Jason. The women.
Yes, the women.
The women. I said Jason. Ladies, did you hear that? I said I was thinking Jason Tatum. I said Jason. I was like the women, Jason. The women.
Gravity right there.
Speaking of Jason,
I know I had that in my head, dog. I had that in my head earlier. The Jason Tatum line now. I was like, yo, I'm gonna call him Jason too.
Hey man, stop playing, man. Do we get like an early release or something, man? What's going on, man?
Oh, well, you can, but
man, I'm like the anxiety, man, is killing me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
It's coming in every week. We get closer.
Very excited. We'll do definitely the video. We'll do the video, the real, final video. We'll do on the show on the 2nd too. We might drop that. The day before on our YouTube.
But that'd probably be a smart move.
Bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, we're thinking about. Speaking of which, another gentleman, Professor Kirksey, from our University of District of Columbia. I was hitting him up when he commented today on Professor Pearsall coming through. Check out this dude. This dude teaches mortuary science. He's a funeral director kind of dude, right? So we have that as a major at the university, right? So he brought his bass guitar in to one of the faculty development things I was directing. One of the first ones I ever did. I had him bring his bass guitar in and I rapped live. And he brought his bass. Yo, he's a nasty bass player. Yo, he's been playing bass. Like he's real nice with it. And he's an interesting cat. So we got to try to get him up on here and play some live bass. Just have him at his place playing the bass. Because the bass, you know, it's not like he's singing or anything. He'll just be playing the bass straight up. And so,
that bass is real dope, man.
He's real.
And also, one other shout out that I got to give, and maybe we'll talk about it next week. Big shout out to Raymond Jones Photography.
Yes, sir. I saw what he put down.
Hollywood photographer.
Uh-oh.
I mean, yeah, man. We'll talk about that next week. But again, big shout out, my brother. It was a great time.
Quality,
as you know, quality.
Watch out.
Yes. Fly, I hit you with the link. I'm gonna hit you with the link, Fly.
Yeah,
exactly.
My brother.
It is your
My
brother.
brother-in-law. Yeah. He's the
man.
He's the man.
I hit you with the link, bro.
That's what's
He
up.
he hooked it up, man, for sure. But Joe, I'm out this piece, man. I gotta go to sleep. Get up. It's my sister's birthday tomorrow. Birthday party.
Happy birthday.
You know.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Somewhere in the teens, 15-ish, 16-ish. I don't even know now.
Ish.
But
you're a good brother. He's a good brother. It's one of those numbers.
You get a present. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not sure what it is. It's some year. Yeah.
I go, hey, Shen, baby. What's how old is you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's my reminder.
Ask your wife your sister. I know how it is. Yeah.
That's what it is. I'll be like, baby, you didn't get my mom my present that you was talking about? Getting it?
You from the old school. You from the old school, J. Cruz.
That's terrible, man.
Showing your age, man.
Look, I say, baby, it's just because you're so much better at picking the presents out than me. Like your ideas are always good, so just go with them.
Married men, if you listen, this free game right here.
It's because she has some because she remembered it.
Yeah, then I say, you know what? If you want, you could get one for you too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the play right there.
Yeah,
to make it really look like this gift was actually from me, right?
You know what I mean?
I'll tell whoever it is. I'll be like, Ma, you know, Shen picked that out, man. I love you.
They're like, of course we know that. Like,
I'll write you a poem like I did. I wrote my mom a poem. That was my birthday.
See, that matters.
For her,
that matters.
Yeah, that's deep.
All right, y'all. We out of here. Hopefully, we'll hear some good Celtics news in the meantime. Maybe we'll be finding out about some moves and some things that are coming up, man. We gotta talk Celtics next week, man. We gotta get into.
I'm gonna catch up. I'll catch up.
Yeah. All right, man. All right, we out of here. Peace. Later.
One.